Season 1, Episode 4. If the stars should appear.
Good episode.
Interesting
It
episode.
was.
It was very, there's this Orville has this bit of a sliding scale where, it goes more, more raucous kind of comedy sort of things going on, and then more solid, hard science fiction sort of things going on. And this one was definitely slid more towards the latter there.
Serious?
Yeah, it's more towards the serious end of business. This is more, actual like Star Trek. This is closer to that end of the scale. The more serious of it. Let's see. Let's see.
Yeah, so Kyle just woke up, so he'll be around shortly.
Okay, well, we'll work our Orville magic, and then by the time that's over, good.
Yeah. He said, ironically, because I called him, he said ironically that woke him up more better than his alarm did.
Okay, so Boris, gets up to the bridge early after having his little domestic tiff with Clyden.
Well, I mean, that whole issue from the episode before kind of puts a damper on relationships.
Yeah, well, and I think it was. This was less to do with that and more to do with Clyden expecting more from Bortus, but Bortus saying, I've got a very important job that's very demanding, and, both want something, and, just, it's the tension of trying to balance the work that Bortus does, which is very important, and the baby, which is very, very important. So trying to make sure he takes care of his job and does what he needs for the crew, but also, is there for Clyden to help take care of the child. Which is an interesting repeated theme from the reason why...
I was going to say, let's just hope that Clyden doesn't end up shagging some blue alien dude.
Yeah, it's a repeat of the theme from the captain and first officer's, issues.
Yeah.
But anyway, they're doing things that make sense in this universe. They're out mapping stars on the edge of known space. It's like, it's a boring job, but for the most part, but
I'd find it kind of fascinating.
Oh, I would do, but as opposed to the other stuff they get up to on a weekly basis, not especially exciting.
Yeah,
it's like, oh,
if you think about it, Gordon is a flyboy. He's the kind of John and Gordon are really the action types. They're all, we're out here to have fun and an adventure and great, more science crap.
They're the swashbuckling duo. Yeah.
Let's fight aliens and
yeah, they're the ones celebrating, fighting the Krill. Everybody else is nervous as heck, and they're just like, yeah, we finally get to do something cool. Yeah. Like,
and then they're like, more pushing button, biped pushing button. highway.
But,
Bipeds running again. Bipeds pushing buttons.
but so they're out mapping stars, which useful to know what's out there and what to send people to do things with, and it also lets them find a 2,000-year-old bioship.
Like,
That
yeah.
kind of looks like a piece of ship. I mean,
Well, it's a full piece of ship. It's the whole piece of ship. Except the engines. The engines were down. But the rest of it was a whole piece of ship.
it's a total piece of shit.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, so it's drifting through space, and it's going to collide with a star in 6 months. So they send Mercer, Grayson, Catan, and Finn, and Isaac over. And they go through the sort of double hole. Isaac is sort of hooking into it, allowing them to dock, because apparently it requires very fine movements that only he's capable of programming, but it didn't look that hard. It didn't look that, I mean, again, make it look easy, but, you know, he's a decent crew member to bring along anyway. If you're going on a place where you have no idea what's going on inside, you know, bringing your android science officer is not a terrible idea.
Yeah.
And it is a science exploration thing.
Yeah. Though sending almost your entire command crew down is a little sketchy, but that's Star Trek, and that's space, that's sci-fi in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Especially after what happened with the
with the zoo. Yeah. It's
like we just almost lost both our captain and our first officer because of this. Let's do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, that was always one thing that was sort of hand waved, you know, in Star Trek. It's like, oh, the captain's going down. It's like, no, don't send the captain down. Send the first officer and a science team and a security team. Send them down with them. Let them deal with it.
Right.
You stay on the ship. That way, worst comes to worst, we lose some red shirts and your first officer. You know, best case scenario, everything works fine.
They actually had dealt with that in, I don't remember if it was Next Gen or DS9, but they actually did mention that in one of the episodes about you're not supposed to send your your captain and your first officer on a dangerous away mission. And it's like, yeah, but we do it all the time anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, it seems like to me the captain's chair should be one of those things where you're reluctant to go into it because you're not leaving. You know, you're not leaving the ship unless you're in dock or, you know, something, you know, requiring diplomacy is you know, and you need the captain to be there. You're not leaving the ship, and you and the XO are not leaving the ship at the same time.
Yeah, you never send them both at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, it makes for great character moments and, you know, conversation between them, but it doesn't really make any sense from a tactical standpoint. I mean, you got Bortus, and Bortus is pretty good, but there's a reason that they're the captain and they're the first officer, and Bortus is, you know, the third in command. You know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which, I mean, they nailed it for the most part. They just should have left Mercer on the ship.
Yeah.
Because the rest of the crew, the rest of the people being sent down are fine. You got your chief of security. Okay, it's like sending Worf. You got your medical officer and Finn, in case somebody needs treatment like they did. Isaac for science, and for command, your XO. Boom.
Yeah.
Okay. Grayson for commanding it. That kit makes sense to send out. That's a very smart, well-rounded away team. Send your captain down as well. But anyway, so they got a bit of a double hull, and they get through that with Catan doing her pickle jar routine.
That jar of pickles.
And they start running into inhabitants in at a cabin, and nearly get shot. And like,
it's okay. We didn't kill. He's not dead. He's not dead, right? No, it was such. Yeah, he's not dead.
You said it to Sun, right? Of course. Okay.
Yeah, he's not dead. I like how we had to check first.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that was just. Oh my god.
You always wonder that with him. You're not really sure, because Isaac makes some great sensical, great sense in, in a lot of things, but then occasionally he makes those weird decisions that you're like, what?
He deals a little too much in the logical sense.
Yes.
He doesn't really think as much in the empathic, humane sense.
Yes.
Which makes him a great science officer.
Yes.
Not so much, person.
Yeah, but you got it just means you got to keep an eye on him and keep his bad habits in line. So yeah, and then we find out. So they almost get shot by Farmer with shotgun, and the great bit was just like he keeps talking to him like they know that they're you're on a ship and we're here to help. What's a ship? What do you mean? They didn't know. It's like we don't mean you any harm. Your paw's fine. You're just stunned. Just trying to slowly, yes, you're on a ship, and just apparently we find out that they've been told that there is nothing beyond. Though it makes me wonder about you do have the sort of resistance people they take them to. But it's a big ship. It's a very big ship. I mean, they said something like the size of Manhattan. So yeah.
Yeah.
But
probably is Manhattan.
That's what the real Manhattan Project was.
Anyway, but you'd think at some point, if they are anything like humans, they would have just went to explore, and there is a finite boundary to the ship. It's not a Pac-Man sort of thing where you exit one way and come back around the other. There is a definite end to the ship.
The thing is, I mean, if you think about our own history, for the longest time, people thought that the Earth was flat and it had a finite set. Once you reached the end, you reach the end. So it could very well be that, there is only, this God created only this much space, and that is all there is.
Yeah, but they probably sent at least somebody around at some point knew that that's the edge. There's the edge. You you don't go past this point. There's not really any point to going out there because there's nothing beyond that point. So I suppose that's where the sort of insurgents, but the sort of the disbelievers,
Rebellion.
yeah, the rebellion, the reformers. That's what they call them, the reformers.
Yeah.
They would. That's probably how they found that little panel. Is like, there's an edge. There's an edge. You know, it's a very big bubble, but it is a bubble. And yeah. But I suppose it degenerated. Though it makes you wonder how they lost that much information over time that they were inside a bubble. But we're just going to go with it, I suppose. At least I'll mention it.
Well, over 2,000 years, I guess, like, knowledge kind of depletes or something.
Well, you
And
think
if there was cataclysmic, a thing that busted up their engines and stuff and sent them drifting, it probably messed with their computers. So,
yeah, but you know, you think they'd come up with some sort of written record or something. You know, they'd write down the important stuff.
If you think about it, how much of our own history has been lost over time?
Like people
Like the
forget.
Aztecs and the Incans and all of those.
I can't understand a thing you're saying right now, Doc. You're underwater. Well, not underwater, but you're muffled.
It's the robot voice.
It's not really robot so much as it's just like she's talking into a pillow.
Yeah. Either way, I hear it all the time.
Is that better?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
But
Also, hi, I'm Kyle.
Hello.
Luke. We're in the middle of our If the Stars Should Appear Orville review.
Nice. I haven't seen any episodes of that, so I'm gonna let you guys keep going.
Okay. Continue,
but
Doc.
if you think about our own history and all of the ancient cultures that, all those mysteries of the ancients that we've lost knowledge of over the centuries, it's not that far-fetched.
Like, for example, people seem to forget that I was the overlord of Earth.
Only
That
your
explains a lot.
Madrox suffers from delusions of grandeur.
Interesting.
I wouldn't call them delusions if they're true.
Madrox suffers from Trumpism.
At least it's not as bad as another guy I know who refers to himself exclusively as the one true God.
Seriously?
He thinks it's a wrestling roleplay gimmick, but I know better.
Mm.
Wrestling roleplay that exists.
Yeah, it does.
Why?
Your guess is as good
Why
as
does
mine.
Doctor Who roleplay exist, people?
Because Doctor Who is awesome and actually has a plot.
Well, so does wrestling. It's a soap opera with fighting.
I mean,
most-
you're not wrong.
I mean, it's a telenovela with fighting. That's all wrestling is.
And
With more fighting
everyone
than
is
usual.
ripped.
But getting back to Orville,
Yeah.
they meet with the reformers, who know that there's more, or believe there's more, and Mercer tries to pass off that the food is okay when it's clearly not.
Do you have a napkin or a dog?
Yeah, it's like no, it's fine. It's great. This tastes great. Yes, because it's always an interesting thing about a subversion of sort of the most sci-fi worlds where no matter where you go, the food is delicious. You know.
Not everywhere. I mean, think about how many times have you seen people look at Klingon food and go,
Yeah, I suppose, but
no?
most places are, it's just fine. You
They're
know,
just like,
But
yeah.
that's
say,
that's
try
I think
some
that's
gah.
I think that's less they find Klingon food disgusting because of what it is, but the fact that some of it is still moving.
Some of it's not good unless it's raw and wriggling.
Well, that's gah. There are other meals in Klingon that targ and that sort of stuff. It'd be hard to eat a targ live. I don't think that would work very well.
Yeah, fair enough.
You'd want that cooked, or at least
Not
killed.
cooked.
At least killed.
You want it raw still, just not cooked. I mean, just not.
Well, you'd want it
live.
prepared. You'd want it cut up and butchered and made into a way that the targ isn't trying to kill you while you eat it. Though I
where's
would
the fun in
imagine
that?
some Klingons would still go for that.
Where's the
But-
fun in that?
But if they
It's only
if they were short on
trying to-
time, it's like we'll just have the recently, killed targ. Well, actually, it's more of a pet. Well, it's pet and food. I remember that Enterprise
They're
episode.
like pig.
Yeah, they're like a pig.
Actually, they
So
look like pig.
they're part
Parts.
pet, part food. But yeah, I imagine when they have the time to luxuriously have fun with it, they might just chase after it and try and eat it live. But I'm not sure if even Klingons go that far.
Maybe some. There are some that are a bit more primal than others.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they Catan and Grayson are off doing their thing, walking through a meadow. They get picked up. Well, Grayson gets picked up by the security forces, and Catan gets shot.
But at least they had some nice girl talk first.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
character
good.
development, and then we're going to shoot you. So.
Yeah, but isn't that the way of most Star Trek and stuff? Just most sci-fi in general. Let's give them character development and then try to kill them.
Yeah.
Sometimes even succeed.
Yeah.
Sometimes trying to kill somebody, is the character development.
And then,
Yeah.
I was just about to say, and then there's Tasha Yar.
And sometimes kill them, bring them back.
Well, to be fair, she had at least an entire season before she got killed.
Mm-hmm.
And she got to find out that Data was fully functional and anatomically correct.
Yes.
Love that song.
Me too.
See, Voltaire doesn't have like a single bad song.
He doesn't have a single bad song. I mean, he has some like not amazeballs, but some songs that are not exactly, oh my gosh, that's amazing. But none of them are actually bad.
It sounds like something I need to listen to.
Voltaire? Yeah.
Yeah, if you like Star Trek, Star Wars, any of that, if you're bisexual, you need to be watching, listening to that.
He has a song called Bisexual.
Yes.
That sounds kinky.
It just means that you like both Trek and Star Wars.
Oh, I know.
Song called Trouble with Tribbles, where the catch line of it is, you're fuzzy and you're cute, but I can never find the hole. Look up Lara Voltaire on YouTube. you will not.
Yeah.
stop.
So let's see. So
She gets shot, and
Grayson
the other
gets
one
taken
kidnapped.
to the city to meet with.
And basically, nobody suspects the Spanish Inquisition.
Yes.
That's
And,
basically the thought of what I saw that.
and nobody notices that she doesn't have spots. Which
Yeah.
brings me up the subject. I wonder how far down those spots go. All the way?
Not as far down as Jadzia.
No, they only seem to go just the forehead. They didn't have like the trill type,
Yeah.
all the way down type.
Yeah.
It looked like it only went down to the forehead.
Well, I mean, it is a lower budget, so.
Anyway, so the government leader chucks a reformer, a wrong thinker, into the crowd to let them beat him to death, while Grayson is being pulled in. Meanwhile, Katana is getting patched up by Finn after she manages to contact the rest of the group and say, "I'm here and I've been shot."
Been shot, not LOL.
Yes. So, using comedy tactics and the fact that apparently nobody tries to break into this sort of town hall that the guard was standing by, he takes out one guard, and that's all it takes to get into this this big government building and get all the way to essentially their leader, their religious leader. Again, it was a theocracy, religious leader and political leader, and get all the way down there.
Best societies are.
Which makes me wonder, if somebody really wanted to get in there and assassinate him, it wouldn't take much, apparently.
Yeah, but he doesn't. He's not paranoid enough with it because he thinks that he has them all brainwashed.
Yeah, and he does for most of them. Well, most of the thing is, he's also dealing with most of them believe him and his Dural stuff, but the ones that don't seem particularly interested in violence. So,
and he
reformers
has the most elite guard in the city.
Yeah, and the fact that they only post one guy there, there's only one guy on the outside, it's like...
Yeah. And he's just sitting there reading a magazine, chilling.
Most people would think, when saying elite guard, that he's got several, but no, it's just the one guy.
Yeah, he's using the plural as the singular when people think it's the plural.
And century. His elite guard is Flash Sentry.
Yeah.
So Hamlet doesn't believe them when they break in and tell him that he's this part of a ship that will soon be destroyed by a star, and then Grayson doesn't believe them. The rescue team gets there, saves Grayson by reversing the
polarity of the ion flow,
the
neutron flow.
Yes, reversing the torture serum. What is it in Harry Potter? The Cruciatus?
Cruciatus.
Yeah. The Cruciatus curse. They reverse it, and Tomlin, one of the reformers, it's like, yeah, Hamlet knows that what you're telling him is the truth. The fact that if suddenly what had been, canon gets turned on its head, it's going to cause chaos. It's like, but it's the truth, and if you don't deal with this, you're going to fall into the sun. You'd rather fall into the sun than deal with this?
Yes. That sounds like big government to me.
You have no idea.
Mostly because he knows either way, if he keeps... Either way, he would die. If he reveals what's going on and he knew anything about it, they're probably going to kill him too, because there's a precedent for, people they don't like getting killed by angry mobs. And and if he falls into the sun, he dies anyway. So either way, for him, there's only, 6 more months.
And falling into the sun is probably a little bit less painful.
Yeah, if they suddenly,
it's a faster death.
Yeah, it suddenly gets hot, and then you die. Just pick your way of dying, essentially. Do you want to die by being overheated by the sun, or do you want to be killed by,
angry mob?
An angry mob that seems to have no qualms with beating people to death that they don't like.
Ew, sounds like America.
Yeah, that you created.
Nope.
Because he created that angry mob mentality.
Yep. Hoisted by his own petard. And if he really wants to do it, he could, if he really wants to go that far, he could take the easy way out when things start getting a little tough and neither have to be cooked alive or beaten by a mob.
Yeah.
Either of those sound like fantastic ways to go.
Let's see.
I mean, at least with the, roasting alive, at least you can cook some hot dogs before you go.
You don't know how to cook on that planet.
Stick a marshmallow on a
Everybody
stick, you've got
has
a
hot
great
dogs.
last meal.
Yeah.
Hot dogs are everywhere. Go under different names, but hot dogs are everywhere.
You watch Mickey Mouse Clubhouse too, huh?
No.
Nice.
God, I haven't seen that in years.
My nephew watches it. Hence my ability to make that reference.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know that.
No, I was thinking of Mickey's House of Mouse.
Oh,
No.
that was actually pretty good.
No, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. There was an episode where there was a Mickey on the moon, like an alien Mickey Mouse. And it was basically just Mickey Mouse in a spacesuit, but they had hot dogs that grew on plants there.
Oh, dear Lord.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember what they called it, but they were basically hot dogs that grew on plants.
But now could they only cultivate broth first? Anyway, so Kimka, another dissident, takes the group to an exit door known by the reformers to lead to the ship's bridge. So they, Tomlin and Kimka see outer space for the first time after the, light years from Earth, and Mercer is still awkward in elevators.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but who isn't? I mean, come on. At least he didn't do what they did in the first Michael Bay Ninja Turtle movie.
And start beatboxing.
Yes.
That one little moment of silliness, I think, was probably the best part of that movie.
It really was. It was like the only salvageable piece of that entire movie, which is why
It was them just fully in character.
Yeah, which is
Sorry.
why they put it in the previews, the trailer.
Yeah. Not enough explosions or American flags.
Yeah.
But so they find a recording left 2,000 years ago. Which, these systems are very age stable, but given it's a generational ship, I suppose that's not too strange. But you have Dural, the final ship captain, who, when the engines were lost and they were set adrift, and from there they fell apart.
I have a joke based on the word Doral, but I bet it would be racist as bad words.
Let's avoid that. We're on YouTube.
Exactly.
And damn, I wanted them to make a Taken joke.
Oh, what?
Well, if I remember correctly, the captain guy was Liam Neeson.
Yes, it was, and they didn't. I think I remember reading they didn't even know it was him until the actors knew Dural was a character, but they didn't know who was playing him, and they kept it a secret from them until just about the time that they walked into the bridge.
That
and
is
then they
really
saw it, and it was like, yeah, it was really cool.
It's just like with Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. It was just Gene Wilder fucking with everyone.
So they find out the thing's got a sunroof, so that they can have night. And so he has Isaac open it, and we get a Ralph Waldo Emerson quote, which Mercer can't identify.
Of course not.
Yes. If the stars should appear once in 1,000 years, how would man believe and adore and preserve for many generations the remembrance of the city of God? And then Planetary Union's going to send some training crew to the ship to help fix it up and get people trained up. And that's the episode.
So my question on that is, what part of the Prime Directive would that be? Because technically they did have the technology at one point, but
number one, this isn't Star Trek, so the Prime Directive doesn't apply. And but number two, they're already a warp-capable species, so...
I know. They technically had the technology at one time, but they no longer have the knowledge of said technology.
You're in possession of a ship. We'll teach you anyway.
They do have their own form of a Prime Directive. We've seen that in that one episode where Kelly becomes God.
Yeah.
I forget. Yeah, it's been a while since I saw that episode. Mad Idolatry, I think, is what it's called. If it's in that one.
Just imagine how many people freaked out when the sky started to open. They're like, "Oh my god!"
How much chaos ensued?
Like, oh my god! All the air is leaving us.
Screaming.
The sun's being devoured. We must have angered Dural. Kill the non-believers.
Ooh.
They didn't show that part, but it probably did happen.
Skip shunning, just kill them.
Yes, because if the sky is opening up and astronomical craziness is occurring, obviously something really bad has happened, and so you must kill the non-believer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not just bypass shun altogether. You've already shunned them. They're already on the edges of society.
Shun to the void of eternity and forever. Shun.
Shun the non-believer. Shun.
Suspicious.
No, it's yes.
Let's see.
It's a severely inside joke based on the Ask Sombra blogs.
Some of those
I believe
videos
it.
have some of those videos have hit over 1,000 views, which is pretty big for us.
Nice.
Yes.
And honestly, they need to do a spin-off series with her and her sister.
I know there probably is. There probably, because if I remember correctly, it was kind of like a guest appearance, so there probably is like a Tumblr for them.
You need to find that because we need to do that one.
Anyway, any final thoughts on If the Stars Should Appear that we spent so long going over?
No.
Nope.
Good
Okay.
episode.
Just hearing you guys talking about it makes me want to watch the show. So
It's a pretty
Job
good show.
accomplished.
It is a really good series. This is basically what should have been done with Discovery.
On network TV.
Seth
And,
MacFarlane does better than the original Star Trek.
well, the thing is, he's got a lot of the people from TNG and DS9 and that sort of the
That's true. I mean, he's got a lot of the support from the people who made it great.
Yeah, Alara Katan's dad is played by the EMH.
Yeah,
So I squeed so hard at that in that episode just because, dude.
Yeah, was it Robert Picardo?
Robert Duncan McNeil.
Yes, Robert Picardo.
Robert Picardo, yeah, but no, Robert Duncan McNeil also directed a couple episodes.
Yeah,
Oh,
I seem to vaguely remember Frakes being involved at some point. But
Yeah, John Franks was directing a couple, I think. So they have all the good, the greats in this because they realize this is what Star Trek is supposed to be. What the hell are you doing with Discovery?
Yeah.
How is
Anyway.
a parody better than the better than the actual canon?
I think it's less of a parody and more an homage.
Well, yeah, homage.
It's not really a straight up
And
parody.
I think-
It's more of a, we're going to do the same sort of thing, but we're going to add just a little bit of comedy. Nothing really making too much fun, but, more what it might, being even just slightly more realistic in what the sort of personalities would be like to deal with. Because you're going to have a helmsman like them. You're gonna have helmsmen like them because the helmsmen are the jockeys. They're the fighter pilots. They're the cocky SOBs.
Yeah, that basically those two are Tom Paris and Harry Kim. Only
They're both Tom Paris.
realistic. Only more so realistic soldier type as opposed to just dorky nerd type like Tom and Harry.
Anyway, cool episode. Are we done?
Yep.
Yep.
Right. Okay.